Happy Movember, everyone. Unlike Mike, I started with a fresh shave. I don't think it's really gonna matter because Mike has just an unbelievable stash and smokes me in terms of the stash every single Movember. But just wanted to send out a friendly little chirp to him that you should start with a fresh shave next time and not cheat his way to victory. Regardless, this is a super heavy week for the NHL coming up. The busy nights are incredibly busy. There's gonna be some tough lineup decisions you guys need to make. So we really want to target players and streamers that are on teams that have a lot of off nights this upcoming week. So this will be an important video, as well as there's a handful of teams that only play 2 games. So we want to make sure that we are adjusting our lineups accordingly going forward. But without further ado, guys, these are your best streamer options for week 5 of fantasy hockey. All right, so like I said, starting off, the best off nights are going to be the Monday, the Wednesday, the Friday, and the Sunday. This is a typical NHL schedule. They really like to load the Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. But this week, it's very extreme, unlike last week where it was very spread out throughout the entire duration of the week. The busy nights this week are really heavy, 11 games, 12 games on those Tuesday, Thursdays, and Saturday. So everywhere else is like really wide open. So we want to definitely target these teams, the Wild, the Preds, the Devils, the Kings as well, even though they only have one off night. All 4 of these teams play 4 games. And then for your max game schedule, in order to get 5 games throughout the week in terms of streamers, you want to start off with the Oilers or the Preds. These are going to give you 2 players on 2 off nights to start the week. Then you're going to make your add or drop either on Thursday or Wednesday night, depending on your league and how your adds and drops work. Sometimes there's a little bit of a delay, so be wary of that. And then you're going to want to pick up somebody from the Wild or the Devils, which again should get you 2 off nights and 3 games in the latter half of your week, giving you essentially 5 games on the schedule with 4 off nights. Moving on to our worst schedule, these are some really high-powered teams: the Stars, the Rangers, the Panthers, the Lightning. I wouldn't recommend, chances are if you have somebody rostered from one of these teams, they're a really good player, so I would recommend dropping anybody. But if you did stream somebody from one of these teams last week and you can afford to drop them, I would, because they only play 2 games, 0 off nights. The Kraken get 2 games and 1 off night. And then if you have somebody from Vegas that you streamed last week that, you know, like maybe it's Pavel Dorofeev, for example, who's been in a recent ad video for us because he's skating on line 1 with Jack Eichel and Mark Stone, one of the best lines in hockey right now. I would recommend just probably holding on to him because you do get 2 off nights from him this week. So if you want to kind of like min-max that as well, I wouldn't necessarily drop them because you get 2 off nights out of somebody from Vegas. But again, they only play 2 games this week, so entirely up to you guys in terms of the caliber of player. Week 5, for my priority forward streams, I want Ryan O'Reilly, Gustav Nyquist as much as possible if they're available in your league. Ryan O'Reilly, 53% owned, line 1, power play 1. Great exposure. Philip Forsberg skating alongside Nyquist as well. That entire line has been really the only driving offense and positive aspect of the Preds recently as well. Forsberg looks fantastic, hasn't skipped a beat. O'Reilly's really just hanging on to the coattails as well as Nyquist. They work really well together as a line, so I want exposure to O'Reilly first, if that's possible, because he gets that power play 1 exposure. Nyquist, again, really good option skating on that top line with Philip Forsberg and Ryan O'Reilly, but does get slide down to power play 2 given the new additions in Nashville. So again, that's the reason why he's 20% owned, but I want to get to him as much as I can if possible, just because he skates on that top line. Alex Laferriere has been fantastic, producing, shooting, hitting, everything you really want. He's been great. The only problem is that the Kings have recently kind of meshed their lines a little bit. They have Byfield skating alongside Laferriere at line 3, even though we did see Laferriere on the top line at some points. We'll get to Alex Turcotte later in a second, but line 3, he does get power play 1 exposure, which is really the only reason why I would look to stream this guy. But he's been fantastic as of late, so I want to get to him, especially in deeper leagues if I can. Marco Rossi is skating line 1 alongside Kirill Kaprizov and Mats Zuccarello, so anytime I can get any exposure to Kirill Kaprizov, I want Marco Rossi. He's been incredibly consistent in terms of the point department as well. I think he's an absolute must-add going forward, especially if you're in a deeper league. He will continue to produce around a point a game as long as he skates alongside Kirill Kaprizov. I wish he shot the puck a little bit more, but again, beggars can't be choosers. He's been great as of late. He chips in a couple shots here and there. And then Stefan Noesen, he continues to stay hot. He's skating on power play 1, so again, I want exposure to that as well, given the fact that their power play 1 has just been unbelievable. They recently moved Timo Meyer onto the second power play. Those Timo Meyer owners, I know, are in a bit of a panic, but I'm not worried about him at all. I think it's just the fact that it's like a left shot versus right shot situation on that top power play, and they want like a one-time option. Regardless of the fact, Stefan Noesen is on that top power play. He plays line 3 minutes at 5-on-5, but again, he's been producing, he's been shooting, he's been hitting. So give me some Stefan Noesen this week as well, given the schedule. For my other forward streams, Quinton Byfield recently became triple eligible, so he's great to have on your team right now. You can fit him pretty much anywhere in your lineup. Really good schedule upcoming this week. Like I said, he's been kind of meshed in that lineup, and they've really gone to the blender in terms of the Kings forward lines. So he's skating line 3, but he's getting power play 2 exposure. So not super high on my charts right now, but Byfield has been known to play on that top line, and they've slided him up there pretty consistently this year as well. So just something to keep an eye on going forward. Mercer is skating line 1 right now alongside Timo Meyer and the hottest guy in hockey right now in terms of goal scoring, Nico Hischier. He's up to 10 already. Didn't see that one coming. So if you are a Hischier owner, you are rejoicing by all means. But Mercer's been solid. He shoots, chips in a couple hits and blocks here and there. But again, line 1 exposure to Timo Meyer and Nico Hischier, so I want that. And then also power play 2 time has been solid, especially with Luke Hughes getting back, who we'll talk about later in the video. He should be get a little bit of a bump there in terms of his power play 2. And then Alex Turcotte skating alongside Kopitar and our Adrian Kempe on that top line there. He gets power play 2 time. Again, 0% exposed. I'm expecting him to get left wing eligibility. He hasn't been bad by any means, but again, doesn't really move the needle in terms of peripherals or anything like that. Just good option in terms of deeper league for exposure to a top line and some power play time. And then Brian Hartman, again, he's playing line 3 right now, just coming back off of injury. He normally like gets moved around the lineup a lot. Does see time on line 1 depending on the way that like Minnesota runs their lineup, but typically like a line 3 player. I think he's solid in terms of his shots. He's got good hit volume as well, and then blocks as well. So he's more so like a peripherals option, but does get power play 2 exposure. So it should be a decent option for deeper leagues as well going forward into week 5. Very thin on the defense options for streamers, as it is typically in the fantasy hockey, is all of the good defensemen are taken. So if for whatever reason Brand Clark or Luke Hughes is available in your league, pick them up right now. They are, again, pair 2, power play 1 for Brant Clark, but power play 2 for Luke Hughes. If anything happens to Dougie Hamilton, somebody that we know that has an extensive injury history and that has been known to not be 100% healthy throughout the course, at least consistently over the course of the last couple seasons, Luke Hughes gets immediately bumped to that power play 1, in which case he becomes an absolute must-own defenseman. So again, if you have exposure to Luke Hughes and if he's available in your league for whatever reason, highly recommend picking him up. They should both be must-adds. Brant Clark's been unbelievable. And then Jake Middleton's been producing. I looked at his game log. He's actually racking up a couple points here and there, but it's typically known for a peripherals type of defenseman. Same with Jonas Brodin. They've both been great. I do think I like Brodin a little bit more than Middleton, even though Middleton's been producing a little bit more in terms of points. Brodin's right there. He's got 5 points so far in the year, but his shot volume is definitely better than Middleton's and roughly blocks the same amount. Middleton will get you a lot more hits for sure. So if you're in a bangers leagues, I would lean Middleton if he's available, but Brodin's 4% owned, and you do have him as that pair 1 player. He's going to play over 20 minutes a night. So basically does the same thing as Middleton, just he's 4% owned. So either one works for me. And then Jordan Spence, if for whatever reason anything happens to Brant Clark, he's the number 2 guy. That's just a power play 2, excuse me, that's a typo, but he is power play 2 in LA. So that's really the only other viable defenseman that's going to get you any type of power play exposure. I was thinking about adding Jared Spurgeon because he is power play 2 in Minnesota, but I think Spence is a better option for you guys. He's more offensively inclined than a guy like Spurgeon. And then week 5, not a lot of back-to-backs given the fact that the schedules are so kind of heavy loaded on the busy days. So Marc-Andre Fleury is definitely your best option, 18% owned. He's going to get a matchup against Anaheim on the 8th. He might honestly get 2 starts this upcoming week because they do play Chicago later in the week. So I wouldn't be surprised if they kind of, go back and forth between him and Philip Gustafson. So Fleury is a great option for this week. Same with Jake Allen. Anytime you get an off night against San Jose, you want to target that goalie. Jake Allen plays on the Devils. Should be an easy win for them. San Jose is terrible again this year. And then Charlie Lindgren, I did not know that Caps are 8-2 right now. I was shocked when I looked at that. So 37% owned. He's a little bit more owned. But again, should get a favorable matchup against St. Louis Blues. And then Daniel Tarasov has not been good by any means in terms of numbers, but he is playing Anaheim on an off night. So if you need a goalie winner, you need some points to finish out your week, Daniel Tarasov should be a solid enough option to get you a good chance at a win on the Sunday. That's going to do it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed the content. Hit that subscribe button if you're new. I will see you in the next one. Good luck in your week 5 matchups in fantasy hockey.